most important part of character creations is the background of the character. This is what gives the character the sort of life and takes it from just being a couple of words and numbers on a character sheet and gives it motivation, why it started, where it's doing, and what it's hoping to achieve over the lifetime of the character. Most games will give you an option of 1 to 3, and that is the player will just create a character background that fits the character they want to play. Like in 5th edition, they will just take a character background, or some games will allow them to randomly roll that character background, which you then associate, and it will give them some sort of skills, advantages, equipment. Or the most interesting one, so games for me like Traveller, The Witcher, the Git series by Jay Lassard, which you randomly create the character background to get where you are, which will give you an element of good and potentially bad things for the character before you start. Shadowdark currently only has really one option, which is the random character creation, but you can kind of give them the second option, which so the first one on my list, where you can allow the player to just create their own background. Until now, I've now have the third option that's available. The book we're going to look at today is Life Paths by Daniel James, and this has been recommended to me by Albert Capley on the Shadowdark Facebook page. Okay, this is going to create, like Traveller, like the Git series and Witcher, random backgrounds for the player characters. Okay, before I get into the book, I'm just going to jump straight over to Drive Through RPG so you can see when I finish this video. I think this is probably one that you're going to pick up. I'll show you the link and what's covered, because if you've been watching any of my videos, you're fully aware that Traveller, Witcher, the Gits, the random character generation, background generation, more importantly, is something that I really enjoy and encourage my players to do if the option is there. Right, so here we are, Drive Through RPG. So we've got Life Paths, a Shadowdark supplement. So it's been created, well, it's published by Burning Light Press, and it's available in PDF or softback copy. And obviously, if you're going to buy the softback copy, go and get the PDF at the same time. So it's currently on offer at time of recording, and we're up to Best Electrum seller. It's a 91-page Life Paths Shadowdark supplement. So it's inspired by life story systems found in other TTRPGs. And this will basically take your character's path from adolescence, well, childhood to adolescence to young adult. Okay. I'm just going to jump straight into it. I absolutely... Spoilers coming up. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful piece of writing. So here we have the front cover of Life Paths, and it's, as I said, it's in the style of Shadowdark. We're seeing most Shadowdark supplements now, just these black and white images with black and white sort of writing. We're just going to jump straight over into the contents. So we've got a table of contents here, the introduction to the book. Good thing is we've got paths for an awful lot of careers. We've got wizard, fighter, priest, thief, bard, ranger, witch, warlock, knight, shaman. And if that isn't enough, there is just a generic, I say generic, I don't mean it quite in that way, hero's path right at the end that, you know, if you're using some of the supplement books like Chubby Funkster's Player's Guide, which I, again, deeply recommend it, this will give you more classes than here. So you can just use the hero's path if you can't fit it into one of the other classes here. It's written and designed by Daniel James, edited by Elise James, and it's published by Burning Light Press. Concept. So there's a little bit of the background of the book here. So it's sort of set up by real life games from other games. It's designed to offer mechanical and narrative flavour of boons and banes, so it will give good things to the characters as well as bad things. And it's going to take the characters from childhood to adolescence to young adult. Some of them will have multiple tables on and extra choices. The use of the book, the life paths, can be run before or after the rest of the character's creation. The supplement is fairly self-explanatory. I will take you through a random creation for a character for a background, the path taken, and the events and reactions it's chosen to it. You're gonna need a D6. I don't think you're gonna need anything else for character creation, but you're gonna have one of those anyway because of the stats for Shadowdark. Perks and penalties may come on depending on luck and fate. The final section here is about balance. The life path will change the character's abilities. Most paths, even if filled with most successful events, should only increase the character's ability equivalent of about 1 level. So a first level character is going to come in potentially at level 2. If you're concerned about balance of the outcome, simply change it. And while you're And while you can certainly run life paths for your first level characters, it says here, it's best used as a fun bonus supplement for 3rd or 4th level whose story is still unknown. So it's really up to you, you know, if you want to run the funnel through, or the gauntlet as it's called in this. Actually, I did miss a 4th one out now. I've just realised the 4th option is the gauntlet from Dungeon Crawl Classics and Shadowdark. So I'm going to leave this in as an edit to show that even I make mistakes. Not that I'm beyond accepting when something goes wrong. So yeah, we've got 4 options and 3 for Shadowdark, because obviously we do get the gauntlet. Right, so I'm going to run through. Do you know what? Let's go with a priest. And just so we can see the background on how it's going to work. So, I should have said, just there, as you can see, it is hyperlinked, which is always a massive plus for me. I do love hyperlinked books. So let's just stick with the priest. So the priest path is one of holy righteousness. First thing you've got to do is begin with the holiest of connections. This is yours a voice that stirs the masses, or power to be unleashed in the unholy. So you're just going to choose a path here. Child of Faith or Moment of Faith. I think you're going to see there are thousands of options, so I'm not really going to spoil anything here, because most of the career paths have got 5 or 6 things, and then you've got results and whether you pass or fail, then more choices as you get into adolescence, all the way through to young adults. So again, we'll just stick that. I'm going to go with a moment of faith. So your connection to the gods came through in a moment of faith, and an event would drive your life forever. So event A, B, A, 2 or 3. Okay, slight error there. We all do it though, so don't pretend that we don't. I'm going to go with 3. So while gathering firewood, you come across a group of local youths bullying a young, smaller child. We'll then get to roll a d6. If I roll a 4 or 6, I'll get the success. If I roll a 1, 2 or 3, I will get misfortune. So here I have my trusty d6. I'm just going to roll this and see what I get. You're not going to be able to see it, unfortunately. That is a 4. Well, I can show you that, but obviously you can't see the roll. So we've got a success here. So success. With righteous anger, you beat back the assailants and save the child. The fire in your eyes speaks to the vehemence behind your words. Why couldn't I pick a word I can read? I think I've got that word right. So, right, that is our childhood complete. So we know how we got our faith here. So we've now got the connection between gods is stronger. Do we want to go for a faith healer, a holy warrior, or a pious soul? So because I saved a small child, do you know what? I think I'm going to go holy warrior. So an event. While visiting a nearby hamlet, you came across a fiendish encounter. A foul imp had cornered a farmer and was attempting to steal their soul. So here's the event here. We are now, I probably should have said, we're now in the adolescence. So you get it down the sort of down the side here. So again, you got the childhood one here. So into adolescence. So reaction 1 or reaction 2. I don't want to read the options. I'm just going to go, actually, I'm going to roll a dice here. And 1 to 3, I'm going to go with the action 1. I've rolled a 6. So we're going to get reaction 2. So I'm going to stay hidden. You focus your powers to drive the devil back from whence it came. Again, we just follow this line down here. And we're now going to roll a d6 to see whether I succeed, misfortune, or a 1. I have rolled a 3. Oh, and I dropped it. That was a 3. I'd like to pretend it was something better, but it wasn't. So we've got misfortune here. Magic sprang from your hands, blasting the devil. Unluckily, the farmer was too close, both dying. You won't cast offensive spells at enemies close to allies. Okay, so that gives me a slight pain going forward. So if I've got any offensive spells, if an ally is close to that person, I won't be attacking them going through. So something's gone wrong already in my childhood. Well, my adolescence, we should say. And then we get into young adult here. So before your training could come to an end, a task was placed before you, a path which your skills would be tested to their extremes. So do I want to go a holy quest, a holy vision, or a holy relic? Do you know what? I'm going to let fate decide. We got a 2. So we're going to go on a holy quest with event B. To prove your readiness to face the world, to cleanse the unholy in all of its form, you were tasked with a quest and a chance to prove yourself before God. So your task was simple yet hard. You were sent across the land to collect tithings. In the road long and paved with untold evils. Can I pass something? Yes, got a 5. Success. From bandits to hags to folks in need, the road held many perils. Thankfully, your faith and wit saw you through. I'm going to get +1 now here to wisdom or charisma. Excellent. So I'll take that. Obviously, I don't know which way I'd go, but it's nice to have an option here. Okay, we are now a trained priest of the Holy Order, and make your god proud. So I now can't cast any offensive spells when someone is in near range to one of my friends, and I'm going to get a stat increase. That's it, I'm ready to go. Or I can do a bonus path here. So a priest is little without their faith. What moment touched you? So choose a bonus faith. So we've got two bonus paths here exist for the priest. We've got a 1, 2, or 3, 4, 5, or 6. Now it does say here that you can run this multiple times, but the more times you run it, you've got more chances of getting a 1. So I would just allow the players to run this once if they want to. And with 6 different paths, again, I'm going to roll this to see what bonus I get. I've got a 6. Rolling high. And that's going to give me Hand of Faith. It was the relationship between you, your god, and those that worship them that kept the spirits high, and the will of your deity at the forefront of your life. So now we're going to roll. I'm just going to see which event I get. Again, don't want to read them because the more random rolling you do on this, the less if you come back to it at any stage. So we'll go with a 2. So that gives us event A, strict obedience and eternal servitude. The only way to serve the gods. Let's see whether I succeed or misfortune. 5. Excellent. So I did succeed. This obedience has led you to be able to survive the event in the harshest moments on faith alone. You only require half rations while in good standings with your god. Excellent. That is my character creator. It says it does allow you to keep running these, and the more times you run it, the more chance you've got of rolling 1s and getting sort of bad results. But again, don't want to spoil that. If you want to allow the players to run it multiple times, you can. So as you can quickly see, what was that, about 5-6 minutes? I don't know. I've got, I did fail my first task, didn't I? So I now can't cast spells in close vicinity to anyone. I've got an increase here to my either wisdom or charisma, so I can decide as and where I want that. And more importantly, while I'm in good standing with my god, so if I stay faithful, I'm going to be on half rations. I'm going to be able to survive, okay? Now, if you need those 5 more minutes back because you think that's a little bit time consuming, you've more than covered as well with these priest tables. So these priest tables offer an alternative or an additional way to roll in your life path. So you can do this in addition. Still got the child, adolescence here, and young adult, but it's just a quicker, more streamlined way. Or you can do it in addition. You're working off a D10. I've got a D6 here. I'm not going to roll any of these. So you've got less outcomes here, but you can pick up things like additional stats or pluses or minus to your characters. And that's it. That is the book in a nutshell. And you've got, say, thieves, bards, bardic characters, rangers, say witches. And then finally, the book does end. And we've got, I think it was the hero, wasn't it, at the back of the book? Okay. So that's it. All you're doing is doing a childhood one adolescent. You've then got young adult. And then if you want to, you can allow the players to do an additional bonus path, and if that's too long or you want to do it more stuff, you've got additional hero tables there. Okay, so what do I think? You already know I love this. It's really cheap as well for what's in there. It's 90 odd pages for, what is it, £5 or £9, and so it's about $12, I'm gonna guess, for the book that I think you're gonna probably want to use this all the time. Well, I'll be using this. I'm gonna make all my players, even if I go down the streamline tables. I think anything that gives your characters, it's definitely gonna give your characters longevity, because when you create a Shadowdark character, you get your background, and you might have your title off that background, but you've still got a fair bit of work to do. This just gives you a huge amount of choices. I would use the random rolls all the time. The other 3 tables, where it's nice and quick, if you want to go down that route, if you need to save the time, you know, if you need another 4-5 minutes back in your life from character creation, go down the sort of streamline route. But if not, the flavor in there is really nice. Yeah, you know, I think we did manage to cover a couple of errors potentially. Maybe it was my reading, maybe it's the grammar, I don't know. And obviously there were some ones instead of A's and B's, but I don't think that's really important. What's important is how much flavor, fun, background you're going to get for the value of money just while you're running adventures in Shadowdark. Do I recommend this book? Definitely. I do think Life Paths, it's something I don't regret buying, and I think probably if you're a Shadowdark fan, actually even if you're not a Shadowdark fan, if you're running any of the old school stuff, even to 5th edition, you could easily adapt, or well, the way I ran mine, you could do that without any problems, you know, the way everything came out. So I think this is a very important book, regardless of what game you're in. Any sort of fantasy background, you could adapt it for sci-fi if you needed to. It's a great book. Well done, Daniel. Really enjoy your book. And Albert, thank you for recommending. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. My name's Adrian from Dungeon and Dyslexia. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.